The CD that you have has the whole report that Steve held up. It's a very interesting process for those of us who were able to attend all the workshops. And the first one was actually led by the emergency management person in Leominster, and they really were well prepared and really helped out in the entire region. But you learn a whole bunch of interesting things. One of the things in the report, and maybe I'm not trying to steal any thunder from the report coming now, but it was interesting because in trying to gather all the information, it was a real challenge in terms of some of the grid structure issues because of national security issues, essentially, about what can be revealed and not revealed because of possible terrorist threats. It's a real challenge. And just another little tidbit that I learned sort of toward the end of this process was you can have an emergency generator and a backup source, and you can test it and make sure that it starts. But if you also don't check your switches to make sure it'll switch over into your system and those fail, you might as well forget the fact that you've got the generator. So there's more to this backup process than just making sure you've got fresh fuel and testing it every now and then. And with that, I'll now turn this over to Jennifer Siciliano from our staff and Guillermo Weyer from Consultant Engineers Group, who will do the PowerPoint presentation. I know Glenn will probably do this at the end because I don't want to forget. All of the MRPC staff are terrific and contributed in many ways, our GIS people, but John Hume, along with Jennifer, took the lead on this and just did a great job first getting the grant and then managing the process through these 2 years. I don't want to let that go unrecognized. So with that, I'll turn it over.
Thanks, Vic. I hope everyone can hear me. I don't have a microphone today. Today we're going to talk about the highlights of Montachusett Energy Backup Power Resources Disaster Mitigation Plan. And of course, detailed information can be found in the report that we got on the CD. Oh, I got it. So the impetus of the plan was, of course, the December 11, 2008 ice storm, which is about 2 years ago, where many of the communities lost power for up to 14 days. It froze the local economy and forced people out of their homes. MRPC applied for a grant to do this plan. They were awarded $125,000 from the Economic Development Administration. Part of this plan was the formation of the Energy Advisory Committee, which were representatives from both the public and private sectors. And it also included representatives from the utility companies in the region. With the oversight of the Energy Advisory Committee, we hired a consultant, CEG, who will be talking about what they did in the plan when we get to it. As part of this plan, we engaged the public in a press conference that was a year from the ice storm date. We also had 3 community workshops, how to prepare for power outages, fuel cells as reliable power, and economic consequences of power outages. And the PowerPoints and audio from these, many of these workshops are on our website if you're interested, if you weren't able to attend. We also displayed our preliminary findings at the Northern New England Planning Conference in Portsmouth, New Hampshire. And of course today we have our wrap-up event. So as part of the plan, MRPC surveyed critical assets within the region about their emergency backup power systems. And the critical assets are the organizations and businesses and infrastructure that are needed for a vital functioning economy. Some of the types of critical assets were cell towers, gas stations, hospitals, pharmacies, emergency shelters, schools, and supermarkets. The full list of critical assets are in the report. The Energy Advisory Committee and MRPC developed 49 data sets or critical assets, put them into 10 categories. We used a 23-question survey that was both print and online, and we actually called some of the assets so that we could increase our response rate. And we also got to use the American Red Cross survey emergency shelters across the region. We were able to get information from that. Our GIS department put together some maps. We have a map that you can see probably later. You can walk up, and again, they're in the report. There's a map of all the regional assets, all the critical assets in the region, who responded to our survey. Another one, where those generators, who have generators, and another one about renewable energy, which will be very valuable in our upcoming new plan, our regional energy plan. So our overall results of the survey, we surveyed 963 total critical assets, and those were 805 unique assets. Unique assets are ones where the same building had a dual purpose, such as schools being used as emergency shelters. So 267 responded, which was a 33% response rate. So we found out that about 59% of the generators, of the critical assets had generators. 17.2% of the critical assets were interested in upgrading. And cost, we expected, was the most common reason for not getting a generator. So we found the following types of critical assets all had backup generators. This isn't necessarily all of these categories, but all the ones that responded to our survey. Police stations, pharmacies, colleges, nursing homes, and hospitals. Categories that had no generators were shipping facilities, home improvement stores, cable TV, and general medical facilities like walk-in clinics and that kind of thing. Supermarkets, we found most of the large supermarkets had generators, but they only powered life safety systems like lights, not refrigerators. Majority of schools had generators, many of them double as emergency shelters. We also found that the majority of major employers in the region do have backup generation. I think about 9 responded out of 30, the major ones. Healthcare, half of the nursing homes have generators, and only 5 out of 11 of the elderly housing have generators. We found this is very significant that not all emergency shelters have generators. So 33 out of 47 of the emergency shelters have generators. Operation centers are, where you're getting your calls for emergencies. All of them that responded do, except for Hubbardston, and 11 out of 16 emergency dispensing sites. That's sites where you maybe get water or emergency equipment. So then we also broke it up into categories. So almost all the fire stations had generators, except for Hubbardston and Townsend. But the thing is, in both those towns, they have other fire stations, and they have generators. So at least one generator is at a fire station in those towns. All the public water and wastewater facilities had generators, but only Fitchburg responded. Of course, they cover more than just Fitchburg, too. Most of the highway departments, except for the 4 up there, and most cell towers have generators. We actually spoke to the cell tower owners, and they said usually the tenants are responsible for the backup generation, and then most gas stations don't have generators. generators at critical assets in each community. Again, in the report, interested in your own town or community city. This is kind of a lot of information here. So this slide shows critical assets that have at least one generator. For example,